Hey, it's Jay. I wanted to extend a special thanks to those of you who have listened and left reviews on iTunes for this podcast. Please leave a review if you haven't done so already. We sincerely appreciate it. We're producing this show independently, and unfortunately, that is not free. We have to pay for digital hosting space, software, equipment, websites, and travel out of our own pockets. But we'd love to keep this show going as long as possible. Please show your support for this podcast and give it life by making a donation to www.bigbuckregistry.com/donate or pledge your support by visiting www.bigbuckregistry.com/pledge. You can also find our app in our Apple App Store called Big Buck Deer Hunter 2015 and in the Google Play Store for Google and Android devices. Thanks for your support and enjoy the show. Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast, episode number 127. Beau Harris from Antler Ice, Reinventing Deer Urine. Big Buck Registry is a virtual museum of hunting stories. We preserve a piece of Americana by interviewing and recording hunters about their hunts and experiences from across the country. And who knows, maybe we'll learn a thing or two along the way that'll help us take our hunt to the next level.
Hey everybody, this is Dr. Grant Woods from Growing Deer TV. You're listening to one of my favorite deer hunting podcasts on the internet, the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast.
Hi, this is Jeanette from No Limits TV and Master Taxidermist with the Game Preserve Taxidermy. You're listening to the Masters of the Deer Hunting Podcast World, Jay and Dusty of the Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast.
Hey, this is Jim Willems, president of the Pope and Young Club, and you're listening to my favorite deer hunting podcast ever, the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast. This is Jay Scott, and Dusty Phillips is also joining me on the microphone from Ohio. What's happening, brother?
Man, tell you what, it just don't get no better than this, Jay.
Oh, why doesn't it get any better, Dusty?
Man, having you and a special guest and an awesome podcast, and it don't get no better, man.
So it's December, and in December, as you know, the festive holiday season, Thanksgiving's just ended, but now we're talking about, Christmas. And one of the things that we have experience with all year long, because we get sent some products, we talk to products makers, and we see things out at shows, and we see new products at stores, and every now and then we some of these products actually catch our eye. And one of the things that I think is kind of cool would be like the ground rattling antlers that Mark Handler created, or the stirrup handle that you put on the front of your gun, the muzzle force device that Kent Wilkeson had us check out. We do plan to have those guys on the show at some point. So there's always these products that kind of show up. It could be a game camera, it could be all different things. But one of the most unique things that you bumped into recently while you're at a store was this product called Antler Ice. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I just I've been hearing more and more about this product, Jay, and it's one of the things where it's just becoming a regular conversation around here, and I really didn't know nothing about it. And I was actually one evening out with my family at Field and Stream, and we was pretty much driving by Field and Stream, and for some oddball reason, I hadn't looked over the hunting goods store. You imagine that?
I can't imagine that you do that. I don't know why you do that.
But yeah, we was driving by Field and Stream here, just south of Dayton, Ohio, and I was like, man, that looked like an Antler Ice truck. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to stop in here and I want to see if this is somebody that I can get in touch with and have on the show and get some more information about this product called Antler Ice. So, I pulled over and pulled in the Field and Stream, and I got out and I started walking in, and I could literally smell the doe urine smell on this guy's truck. I was like, wow, it was just like one of them things like, this guy's definitely full blown deer urine product.
Big old cloud of deer urine smell coming your way.
Oh man, my neck started swelling, and I was ready to start rubbing on this tree outside the building there. But I went inside, and I got to walking around, and I was actually like on the hunt for this guy from Antler Ice, and I was walking around, and just happened to catch him putting product in their freezer right there in the Field and Stream store. They got an actual freezer right there in the store. And I just walked up and, really the smell of deer urine overtook me again. And I was like, you're the guy I'm looking for. Sad when you can tell the guy you're looking for smells like deer urine, But I said, hey man, I just introduced myself, told him Dusty Phillips, Big Buck Registry Deer Hunting Podcast, and told him what we do and how we go about our business here at the podcast. And I said, hey man, would you be interested in joining us for an hour show, talk about your product a little bit? And he said, yeah, I'm actually the manager for this side of the world, pretty much, the States here. And he's like, I'd be glad to talk with you. And just from there, we just hit it off. Beau Harris is a great young gentleman, and he's pursuing a dream and trying to get product in all the areas that he can reach out to. And man, just what a great, unique story that we got ahead of us here with his Antler Ice. And it definitely is getting my attention by the way they preserve it and how it's sold in stores and what you can do with it. And it's going to be a great show to talk a little bit about some deer urine and how to go about it in a different form than we're used to.
Awesome, man. Well, without further ado, Dusty, let's get Beau Harris on the line.
Let's do it.
Beau Harris, welcome to the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing awesome, really.
It's it's pretty cool. We're sitting here in our own studio together for the first time in New Hampshire. So we're going to rock the deer woods here for the next 3-4 days and see what we can come up with.
Right, we're trying to do the same here with that. Hopefully that rut's getting ready to take off here in the Midwest.
I hope so. I hope it does for everybody. Where are you at right now, Beau?
I'm in Southwest Missouri, Lebanon, Missouri.
Okay, gotcha. And are you from Missouri?
Yes, sir.
So okay, so where are you from originally? Are you from that area?
Yeah, yep. Born and raised here.
Okay.
Grew up on a farm out in the middle of nowhere. So it was either, do yard work or go hunting. So did a little bit of both.
And which did you prefer?
Oh, hunting all day.
For sure. That's the answer I would give too. Excellent. So you grew up on a farm, and I would assume that working with your hands, getting dirty, working hard every day is not something that is foreign to you.
No, sir. No, it was quite often, you had to go out and put at least 5-6 hours in every day, something around the house or on the farm.
Gotcha. So what else did you do besides hunting and working on the farm? Was there anything else to do, or that was it?
I had a little brother I had to kind of take care of, but we ended up getting in a little bit of trouble here and there, but hitting walnuts with ball bats and
walnuts with ball bats. All right.
That's a great time right there.
Between that and splitting wood, that was our fun.
And did you hit walnuts for any particular purpose, or was that just because you want to be a baseball player, or was it just that's what you did?
Well, the family said I was hitting a baseball at like 18 months old, and it just took off from there. And it just became something I constantly pestered them. Hey, pitch to me. Hey, throw to me. Hey, let's play catch. And, they just continued after it. And
so I would assume that if you're hitting walnuts as a kid, that it's got to develop into some kind of good hand-eye coordination. And it sounds like it might have been a baseball thing. Did you go on to play any baseball?
Sure did. I ended up going because we were 28 miles out of town. We were 500 feet from having to go to Richland High School. So I ended up going to Lebanon High School, performed well there, got a full ride to college to play baseball.
No kidding. Excellent. Where did you play ball?
I played at Mineral Area College in Farmington, Missouri, and that was a 2-year JUCO. And then I received another full ride out of there to University of Missouri St. Louis.
Wow, that's fantastic. Congratulations. I mean, that's from hitting walnuts to getting a full ride to go to school. That is fantastic. It's a quintessential part of American life. And did you enjoy the whole trip?
Oh, it was a blast. I mean, everything's got its ups and downs, but man, it was very well worth it.
Right. Oh, that's pretty neat. That's very cool. So where was hunting in your life along the way? Did you ever hunt less or not hunt because baseball was interfering with that, or was that always just something you did in the off season?
Well, I played football 1 year, and after I really didn't ever get to hunt, I said, that's enough of that. And I quit playing football after the 1 year. Because I was also training for baseball, and there wasn't enough time to incorporate everything, so I quit playing football. And I only played that my junior high, my 8th grade year. But just incorporate it when you could. It was tough through high school and through college. But, I was taking my homework in college to the tree stand.
That's nice.
Really?
That's awesome.
That's excellent. So how do you do homework in a tree stand?
Well, you take 2 backpacks for one thing.
Okay. Two packs instead of one. All right. I get that.
I actually would carry my laptop up there and type them daggum English papers I had to do, which I dreaded. But you know what? They weren't so bad when you did them in a tree stand.
I couldn't agree more to that.
How are you?
And
great?
Go
ahead, Beau.
I had some literature classes. I had to read books, so I just sat in a tree all day and read a book when I wasn't seeing no deer.
That works. That works for me. And how?
I passed the class.
a little tree stand therapy to go along with the homework never fails anybody.
How are your grades, Beau?
They were decent.
Decent. Okay.
I had like a 2.3, 2.4 GPA.
Okay. So there's life to hunting. And,
I probably could have had a little bit better study habits, not doing it in a tree stand, but I kind of.
You made the best out of the situation.
Yes, you did. It's all good, man. It's all good.
So we'll get into how do you go from baseball to Antler Ice? Let's get in a little bit about how you got into Antler Ice.
Well, it was kind of just ironic kind of situation. I was supposed to meet with the dean of college or the dean of students one morning through the summer, and she hadn't showed up yet. I was a little bit early, so I was just kind of yakking with some of the ladies in the business office. Well, one of the ladies happened to know, which I didn't know at the time, the owner of Antler Ice, Sean Thompson. And she asked me if I liked to hunt, and I was like, no, ma'am, I love to hunt. And I got her trail cam pics and everything else, and she asked me to forward those over on an email. And she ended up sending them to Sean, and Sean called me that night. And things just kind of went from there. He gave me an opportunity, and I just kind of blew his mind on his expectations. I guess in a way, he had been let down because he had gave other people opportunity just the exact same, and nothing had came about it. And I told him from our first conversation, I just said, what's it going to take? And, he said promoting and this and that and whatnot. And I said, okay. I said, if you'll give me that opportunity, I could be your biggest advocate for Antler Ice. And I still remind him to this day, I'm running the Midwest side of things and everything. We're slowly getting it developed out here in the Midwest. But just staying diligent and persistent and staying right after it to continue to grow this company.
And that's something that, a lot of people lack is the drive to make something of what they got handed to them. And, and another thing is that the attitude and your background, the way you was raised to work hard. Hard work always pays off. And, and I can relate to that in a great way. The way I was raised, being on the farm and being, having a background of farming and working hard. And I remember we used to hit golf balls off a baseball bat out behind the barn like an old walnut. But I'd say the golf balls went a little farther than the walnuts, but we had a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got in trouble if, Dad caught a baseball or a golf ball with the brush hog out there. So we just, tried to learn our lesson as quick as possible.
For sure. So you got presented this opportunity, and tell us where you're at, Beau, with Antler Ice today.
Well, I've been with Antler Ice going on 2 years now. When I brought the product into a gas station down here in the Midwest, that was the first store to carry Antler Ice in the Midwest. Beside, I think somewhere in Ohio we had a store that carried it. But other than that, this gas station, and just from word of mouth and from me talking with some of my buddies and friends and close acquaintances, plus my truck, I just did my truck all up. It exploded once people seen how well it worked, and it consistently would work over and over. And they ended up selling almost 200 bottles in a 3-week time for a product that was very unknown in this area.
So it raises the question, Beau. We say the word Antler Ice, and it just, the visual, because I have not seen this product. Dusty, you've seen this product in a store.
Yep, absolutely. You know, I'm very fortunate to run into Beau Harris from Antler Ice at Field and Stream down there just south of Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah. But to somebody that hasn't seen it, the word Antler Ice, I can't draw a picture in my head. So let's draw that picture. What is Antler Ice, and what is it for?
What Antler Ice is an all-natural frozen deer urine. And, you know, there's it's the only way to bring a pure product to the customer, and that's by freezing it and not allowing to have any preservatives or any synthetic added to a product.
Okay. Now, why all natural? Aren't all urines all natural?
They tend to claim they are, but some of them, if you'll read more, they might not be. They might say a urine, or it might be a lure. You know, with a lure, they are mixing a little bit of their own combination into that urine. I mean, literally with ours, we collect it from our farm, we bottle it, and we freeze it, and that's the end of the story. And it's brought straight. It's displayed frozen. It's sold frozen.
What does freezing do to the urine?
With the freezing, that is how we preserve the urine, by isolating it in a maximum potential state.
Okay. All right. And just putting it in a bottle is not enough.
No, because when the urine gets enough heat, that urine will break down. And that's when you will build your ammonia and your bacteria, and you do not want that smell.
Okay.
With the free part of that cuts off any kind of bacteria or ammonia development and keeps that urine pure.
As fresh as it possibly can as it hits the ground, in a sense.
The only thing that could, maybe top Antler Ice would be a hot dough in front of you in your stand.
Interesting.
That's the kind of product you bring.
Now, what types of collections are you using? Or in other words, what different varieties of Antler Ice do you have? Do you have dough and heat? Do you have just regular old dough? Do you have buck estrus, or not buck estrus? Do you have buck tarsaled and just regular non-rutting buck? Or what can we expect to be able to pick up as part of this product?
Well, we have a regular buck urine. Then we have just regular dough urine, dough and heat, and then we have ASU, which is regular dough urine, and crushed apples into that product. And the other one is called vanilla dough, and that is vanilla extract and regular dough urine.
All right, that's interesting to me. I've never heard about these combinations of fruit and urine. Now, it's kind of funny we're talking about it, but it actually sounds like it's a useful product for a hunter. Now, why combo it with vanilla extract? And what was the other one that you're comboing? Apple scent. What's the purpose of that?
Well, that is keyed more towards outside of the rut, early season, late season. That vanilla is that like tasteless curiosity, that sweetness aroma that just kind of, it's very stout and it can reach very far out. And then mixing that with the regular dough urine allows them, when they smell that vanilla, it allows them to at least sense that, okay, there's other deer in that area. Let's see what because deer are very curious animal. Same with the ASU, except that's more of that food attractant. And it's tough when you initially try to smell that ASU right out of the bottle, but once you've thawed it out and you use it, you can actually really smell the apple in that ASU.
Okay. So the purpose of Antler Ice is to freeze the specimen as soon as possible, so as to inhibit the breakdown of the product into its natural components that it would eventually end up in, such that the hunter can buy it. It can be delivered to the hunter to be as fresh as it possibly can. And when the hunter receives it, you buy it out of a freezer, I would assume, based off of what Dusty told me, and then you let it you keep it frozen, or do you let it thaw out
No, you want to keep it frozen until the night before or the morning before your hunt.
Okay.
And this is also a product that can be thawed and refrozen multiple times.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Would you recommend, once you receive the product, you thaw the whole bottle? Would you portion it out from there and then refreeze the portions so as to keep it as fresh as possible as you go along?
That's a very good idea, is to keep your main supply of your urine in the freezer and just utilize what you want to use when you go out. We have another product. It's called a Ghost Wick. And what we try to tell people with this product is to thaw your bottle and then apply it to these Ghost Wicks, and then put your Ghost Wicks in a Ziploc bag and put the freezer, and then put your bottle back in the freezer. So the next morning, you just take your bag of Ghost Wicks, and you can use those for your morning or evening sit.
Oh, that's a good idea. So it's been pre-soaked. You're all set to go, and freeze it, keep it fresh as possible, and then just thaw it out as you go into your hunt. Makes sense.
Right. And with that being, let's say you have an ounce or 2 ounce combined in all the wicks, that's only going to take a few minutes to thaw out as you get ready to hunt.
Okay.
And
go ahead, Beau.
And with your bottle, it's going to take upwards of probably 10 to 15 minutes to thaw out, with being, a full bottle of urine.
When you say a full bottle, tell us how many ounces are we talking about?
Every bottle, our product, has 4 ounce. In our buck urine, our ASU, vanilla doe urine, and our doe and heat.
So you're buying a 4 ounce bottle when you purchase it out of the freezer. And get back to a little bit about the freeze and thaw. Let's say you go out hunting one morning. Let's say it's a 40-degree day. You pull your Antler Ice out of the freezer. You go to the woods. You dump a little bit out, and say that you was unsuccessful for the day. You take it back home. Is it okay to refreeze the Antler Ice?
Yes, sir.
And how many consecutive times can we do that?
You can do it multiple times, but just know that after 3 or 4 times, the potency level of that urine is going to dwindle.
I gotcha, but you can still refreeze after the 3 or 4 times with a little bit of expectancy of losing some of the potent.
Yes, it has a 3-day liquid life.
Okay.
And a 3-year frozen life.
No kidding. So you can actually sit on this for 3 years in the freezer.
Yes. Very much so. We actually still have test bottles in our main freezer back at the warehouse that have been in there for 9 years, and we can still crack them open tonight, and they'd be just as stout as a bottle we just froze a week ago.
Really interesting. Now, you can't really say that about other urine products that are out there on the market. Those things go bad fairly frequently. I mean, and it sounds like you're solving a problem that we may not be aware of. One of the problems may be that these urines that you see on the shelf have been sitting for an extended period of time, and they certainly, capture the attention of the hunter, thinking that you're buying a useful product, and people sometimes swear by them. But in fact, are you saying that the products that are on the shelves may have already expired and not be nearly as potent as they could be?
They may not have expired, but with them setting in a liquid form in room temperature on a store shelf, they have to have some kind of preservative or synthetic to keep that urine from breaking down.
I see. Got it. And does that preservative have a scent, or does it cause some kind of bad smell to come out of the bottle that you may not want, or does it cause some kind of chemical compound formation that a deer may not recognize as normal?
Well, to our nose, we can't smell it. You can smell the difference from product to product and then to our product. Okay. But with a synthetic or preservative you're going into the deer, their backyard. You're trying to fool them in a situation that's all they know. So if you bring something in there that is very unnatural, it's going to red flag on a mature deer, because they can decipher up to 6 smells at one time.
Gotcha. That's interesting. So it sounds like you figured some stuff out here simply by freezing urine, and it makes sense to me. There's really no way to deliver a more fresh product. You see it with and Dusty, chime in here a little bit. Vegetables, for example. Farming, vegetables,
right?
are frozen vegetables as good for you or better than the product or a vegetable that sat on the shelf for a while?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say that's a bad comparison on far as liquid form urine versus a grown vegetable.
Okay.
No comparison, Jay. Just a vegetable, frozen vegetable is tough to keep it as fresh as a picked vegetable, obviously. Nutritional value, yes, probably still there.
Okay.
For a certain period of time, but I don't think that you're going to get the freshness out of a vegetable as you would out of a liquid urine form. Now, let me go into saying vegetable fruit juice would be probably just as potent the day you unthawed it after you froze it as the same scenario as a urine. But I wouldn't go into a vegetable as a hard form.
Okay.
Maybe on the juice side, yes, I'd say that you could probably still keep the consistency of the nutritional value, and but I don't think that kind of freezing an actual vegetable in hard form would be it turned to mush over a period of time after you freeze and thaw something like that. It'd break down too easy.
Okay. But as far as the actual chemical components that you're interested in, like just your nutrients, for example, the nutrient portion of a frozen anything is typically better than something that sat on a shelf.
Oh, absolutely.
For a period of time.
Yeah,
no matter what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. You get into meat or anything like that, it'd be kind of the same scenario. So
right. Okay. All right. So that all makes sense to me. I think, freeze. No, how do you deliver this stuff to the market though? I mean, now you've added this whole other element of it's, how do you get ice cream to the people that want ice cream? You've got a distribution problem. How do you solve that?
It takes, there's a handful of us that pitch in constantly. It doesn't matter what time of day or night it might be, but having the product and doing everything it takes to get it to the stores so the customers can get it in their hands.
I might be able to speak on this one, Jay.
Yeah. What do you got?
You pull up to Field and Stream and you see this fully wrapped Dodge pickup truck with 2 freezers, deep freezers in the back of it, and it says Antler Ice all over it. He's making deliveries with freezers in the back of his pickup truck.
Gotcha. So what'd you do, Beau? Did you go out and buy a bunch of old ice cream trucks so you can get these things delivered? What's the story there?
Now, that'd take a lot of camo to wrap them ice cream trucks.
Oh, that was a great response, Beau. I love it. Oh, man.
That's excellent. So you freeze it at your facilities, you throw it in a freezer truck, and you deliver it to a freezer at a store. It's fantastic.
Yes.
It's not in an ice cream truck.
Can you see pulling up to the, hey, here comes the ice cream truck.
Here comes Antler Ice truck. Got
yes.
you playing the music that the ice cream truck got. They might be onto something here, Beau.
I'd like to have 2 dough and estrus, and all you got to do is look for the Orange Army, and you just pull up next to the shop.
We can have like a mobile Antler Ice unit. Like you see hunters on the side of the road, you just flip the music on.
Right.
And then they come running out of the woods to get the Antler Ice.
Here comes the Antler Ice truck.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You don't think of it, but that actually might be catchy.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I mean, yes, have the freezers in the store all over the place, but.
I can hunt.
Yeah, you just, you got.
27, we'd have a hotline and everything. Yeah, I don't think I'd like it.
You could have an Antler Ice app. You just click the beacon when you need some urine.
I mean, you look at these food trucks, Beau. They're constantly on Twitter, and they're showing up at a new location every day. And their Twitter, they're going to send out by social media, Twitter or Facebook, where they're going to be for the day, and that's where the people go. So now you can just tweet, said the Antler Ice truck will be at the parking lot of whatever store for 3 hours. Come get your ice, and away you go.
Yeah, we definitely need to send one out next time we make the trip all the way down to Mobile, Alabama, to that Field and Stream. Good night. That's a haul right there.
Yeah. Yep. But I think you got something there. So you heard it here first on the Big Buck Podcast. You need an Antler Ice cream truck, in a sense.
I tell you what, I think this thing, if you've pulled up the Field and Stream with the ice cream truck siren, the music on, and you roll up the side door and you say, Antler Ice right here, get it fresh, get it cold.
Right.
There you go.
It sounds ridiculous, but I think it would actually work.
So let's get into a little bit about how you recommend that you actually apply this out in the woods. Is there different things a product that you guys have to hang it out in the woods or to apply it in the woods setting?
Well, with our Ghost Wicks, we also have package where it's called Ghost on a Rope, which is a boot cinch strap and 3 wicks in a package, so you can run a drag line in to your stand. And with these Ghost wicks, you have 2 eyelets. You have a solid eyelet and you have a split eyelet, and then you have 2 stems. And you can run that solid eyelet for your drag line. And then if you have a larger limb that you can't fit that solid eyelet around, you can take that split eyelet and mold it around that limb to hang it.
Gotcha.
Very cool.
So, Beau, can you get in a little bit about when to use these products? You said you have a variety of different ones. Are there different parts of the deer season that we should be considering using these products?
With your vanilla doe and your ASU, those are more keyed towards your early season, your late season. They're also good to run in the rut, but they're not ideal because your buck urine and your doe and heat are more ideal for your rut.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So that kind of lays that out. So, Beau, I was wondering if you could kind of just bring us into a hunt. Like, how are you using these products throughout the year? I mean, you have full access to the entire catalog of this Antler Ice urine. How do you apply it, you personally?
Well, when I'll park, and wherever I end up, where I think they cross, I try to apply it everywhere from probably 150 to 200 yards out from my stand. So that's increasing the amount of area that I'll be hunting. So there might be deer that I don't see, but that Antler Ice will draw them in if they cross that drag line that I bring in.
Right.
And I'll normally run that drag line and set it 20 to 30 yards out in the shooting lane, and then I'll put probably 2 or 3 more wicks up in other shooting lanes.
Okay. So how many wicks total?
4.
4. All right. So you do a drag, and then you hang 4 in different shooting lanes that you're. And how far out are these hangers from your stand?
Honestly, you don't want them too close because I've made that mistake, and it's really hard to shoot a deer at 6 yards underneath you.
Right.
So I keep them 25 yards to 40 yards out.
All right. And how wide is your distribution in a diameter type scenario?
As far as the stores that carry it?
Yeah, like if you got one at 0 degrees, you got one at 45, 90.
He's talking about the locations that you're going to dispense out in the woods.
I normally, it depends on that, your wind. And, some places, it might tell you got a southeast wind, but when you get up there, it's just swirling. So you just try to play, it's a bit of a chess match when you got a swirl wind, but you always try to play, at least 3 or 4 wicks in your favor to where if they do come downwind of that wick, it will be in between you and that wick, and they don't get your scent.
Gotcha. Okay. Very cool. Very cool product. So, Beau, let's talk about some deer hunting itself. I think you have a great product, and I think it's probably the most inventive product I've heard of so far relative to urine and keeping it fresh. And I think freshness goes a long way when you're trying to bring that big buck in closer, because the longer you let your current bottle of urine sit on the shelf, the worse it's going to get, the less potency it's going to get, and the fresher is always better. Pretty much everything I know to be true, the fresher anything is always better. The cigar, the beer, whatever.
Sure.
The urine in this case.
Right.
So let's go on some deer hunts with you, Beau. One of the things we always ask is that we talk a little bit about where you hunt and how you hunt and what other things you do to be a successful hunter. We are sure you're using Antler Ice, but what else? What other things? What's your philosophy on hunting besides using Antler Ice? What other things do you believe in that should occur in the woods?
When seeing deer, being able to read a deer, whether, if he's outside of that, your wind and not being able to catch that scent when calling or making an attempt to call, whether rattle, doe bleat, or grunt, you need to be able to read that deer and see his reaction to each call. And then kind of play your cards from there, because if he doesn't seem interested, you don't just keep hammering the horns. If you grunt and he kind of flags or gets a little skittish, you don't want to grunt. You got to be able to read that deer and try to play the right tune that he wants to hear to be able to bring him in.
Okay.
If he's out that wind area.
Okay, gotcha. What other things, and Dusty, I'd like you to chime in here and just kind of walk us through kind of the backpack checklist, but what other things are you bringing into the woods with you to be successful besides the deer urine?
I bring a set of rattling horns, a grunt call, and I'll have an estrus bleat in there as well.
When you get into rattling horns, tell us, we're having a little debate about this on what size antler we need to be using when we're rattling. What, just give us a rough guesstimate of what caliber of antler you've carried in your pack.
I've rattled with little bitty horns and all the way up to 160-inch horns. The best result have been with about 115, 120-inch set of horns. And that being, it doesn't put off a real loud, deep noise to which it could scare off, a potential 130, 140, but yet it still will intrigue those older bucks to, hey, what's these young guns doing, and still it brings a variety that you can call in with that set of horns. And
you've used this to make that some factual information?
Do what now?
Have you used this tactic to confirm that's kind of a factual, informative information there on the 115-inch antlers?
Yeah, that's I have a set. That's the set I have right now.
And that's what you've had the best success with.
I actually used a buddy set because I thought someone had stole mine, and he had like 150-inch set of horns. They sounded great and everything else, but I never had any results, and I probably tried them 3 or 4 different times.
Huh. Interesting. That's the first time that's come up, a subject on size, and be able to hear somebody talk about that's actually used the different size antlers. Interesting. What else you got in your pack, Beau?
A grunt call.
Any particular brand?
A dual.
A dual.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about it. Setting is one setting or adjustable? Tell us about it.
It's actually one setting, but it's got on the neck. It's got a rubber neck that allows you to extend it out, and you can make it deeper or bring it back in and make it shallower, so you imitate a younger buck or a more mature buck. And it also allows you to kind of do that grunt growl.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Now, you say you had a doe bleat. Is there any particular brand of doe bleat that you pack with you?
The one I've used that seems to be the most realistic is the Bone Box by Michael Waddell, Bone Collector.
Gotcha. Okay. And that's what you're carrying in your pack now?
Yes.
Gotcha. Well, let's get into a little bit about your camouflage. Is there any particular camouflage you prefer wearing over others?
If you can tell by the truck, I kind of like that mossy oak.
Yeah, I got you. I can tell by the truck, but I just wanted to make sure that's what you was wearing to the woods.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Very cool.
That's. I mean, I've used mossy oak for probably 8 or 10 years now, and it keeps producing, so I keep utilizing it.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. And if something's working, you go with it.
Yeah. If it ain't broken.
Right, let's get in a little bit about your bow setup, Beau. What kind of bow are you carrying to the woods?
I'm shooting Elite Hunter.
Any particular arrow?
Carbon Express.
What are you tipping them Carbon Expresses with?
Dead Ringer.
Dead Ringer broadheads. Gotcha. Let's get in about your tree stand setup. You prefer a tree stand, hang on, ladder, ground blind? What are we working with?
I prefer, when you're in this situation, when you're trying to run camera, to be able to conceal 2 guys, a blind is nice, but then again, you don't have that advantage point from higher up. So when I'm hanging, I put hang-ons on.
Gotcha.
To conceal 2 guys.
What brand?
Advanced takedown tree stands.
Gotcha. Any reason why you prefer them over others?
The convenience and the easy setup.
Gotcha. Pretty much a one-man operation to hang one?
Yeah, I mean, it's a 3-part system, and it's not backbreaking to set up one of those takedowns.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense. So where are we headed on this one particular hunt that you're going to tell us about?
Well, it was probably my mule deer hunt this bow season. Is my first time ever getting to mule deer hunt, and I ain't gonna lie, that's a lot of work. We had 15 miles under our belt before we got presented with an opportunity, and it was all on foot. We didn't have an outfitter. Just I had a good old boy farmer that we knew, and he had allowed us to come up. The downfall was he had a lot of mule deer, but he still had a lot of standing corn, which was holding those mule deer. And this particular morning, there was a super heavy fog.
Right. What year? What year was this, Beau?
This was earlier this year.
So it's 2015 season.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Which state are you in?
Nebraska on this hunt.
Nebraska. Okay, got it. All right, continue on.
He had told us, the farmer had told us, because we had been hunting out back behind his house, and he had said, "Man, you guys hunting in the wrong direction. I keep seeing all these bucks over here." And I was like, "Okay, well, that's sense." We seen probably 40, 50 doe. So that next morning we got up and we just started creeping along this stubble field. There's corn back in there, and this fog, I mean, you can't see more than probably 80, 90 yards through it. And we were sneaking around some heavy undergrowth and just happened to glimpse out and see, a mule deer, but we weren't sure if buck or doe yet. And he just kept walking, and we're like, okay, we're just going to see what happens. And it ended up being a nice mule deer. He was a 5x5, but he didn't get, he got 67 yards out. And I went to ranging with the rangefinder, but because the fog was so thick, the rangefinder wouldn't register. And it was, now or never. And I asked Sean Thompson, the owner of Antler Ice, I said, "Hey, how far is he?" He said 50. I said, "There ain't no way." So I went with my gut instinct, and I put my 60 on top of his back and let the elite and do the rest. And I put it right on the money. And it was just, oh my gosh, this just happened, because my mule deer hunt was a bucket list, and I didn't think it was something that would come so quick and be successful, because I know, a lot of guys end up going mule deer hunting. It's probably, they make 2 or 3, 4 trips before ever successfully taking a mule deer. And I was very fortunate to have the opportunity and harvest, a nice mule deer the first time I got to go out.
That's awesome, man. That's very cool. So that was this year in Nebraska, muley hunting, dense fog, corn still standing, 60-yard shot.
Yeah, and we got it all on footage and everything. It'll be on the 2016 Bone Cold TV on Pursuit Channel.
Wow, that's intense, man. That's very cool. So where do you want to take Antler Ice from here?
I want to be able to put it in each hunter's hand that, we put all this time and effort into preparing for each season every year after year. And Antler Ice will bring, it's not going to, I can't guarantee you a deer, but it's going to increase your odds significantly when used and applied in the woods.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I want to be able to put that, bring that and grow this product, this company, to be able to reach out to all those hunters that work so hard to try to harvest something, and sometimes they come up short. I just feel like this is a definite edge that could be utilized by everyone. Excellent.
Now, Beau, there are a few questions we like to close with, and for every guest that comes on the show. One of which is, what is your number one hunting tip of all time? If you had to pick one, what would you say?
Set as long as possible.
Gotcha.
Because, it don't matter. I don't care how tired you are or whatnot, but as soon as you think, man, I'm done, I ain't seen nothing, something shows up, or you end up spooking something when you go out.
Okay. So time is on your side.
Yeah. A lot of guys get out at 8:30, 9:30. Well, I've seen or shot some of my biggest deer about that 10 to 2 o'clock mark, because when everybody's getting out, they're pushing these deer. If those deer were bedded up or anything, they're pushing them right into me. Or, when they're coming back in, I'm not a stranger to set all day, because if I don't see them in that first half of the day, get past that noon period roughly, and everybody starts to come back in the woods, that 1:30, 2 o'clock, I'm just waiting for, that next great opportunity to come running by my tree.
Right. Gotcha. Good one. And everybody has one of these things. And I don't know what your thing is, but it seems like everybody's got like this good luck charm, or this thing that might be equivalent to a pacifier that you got to take in the woods with you, or you feel naked without it. What is that one thing you have to have in the woods with you at all times, other than your weapon?
My hat.
Your hat.
My Antler Ice.
Your Antler Ice lucky hat.
Yeah. I wear this hat. Except I even wear it to bed sometimes. It's just
all right.
That's a hat right there. Now.
That's a good hat, definitely. And Beau, how old are you right now?
I'm 25, sir.
25. All right. So what would the 25-year-old Beau Harris tell the 15-year-old Beau Harris, knowing what you know today?
Keep working hard. Sooner or later, it'll pay off. You don't ever know when, but just continue to press forward and work hard.
Awesome. Very cool, man. Well, Beau, this has been a pleasure, and I'd like to say thank you for joining us on the Big Buck Podcast. And Dusty, thanks for lining up this interview. It's a very interesting product, and I'm interested in hearing more about it and getting my hands on some. And speaking of that, Beau, when should we expect to see this distribution more prominent throughout the United States?
Well, right now we're in, I believe it's 17 Field and Streams that are up and running, and they're predominantly in the eastern region, but like I said, there is a Field and Stream all the way down in Mobile, Alabama. And if you are unsure, we have our website at antlerice.com.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go on there, and there will be a dealer locator.
Okay.
And type in, and it'll give you the nearest dealer, Antler Ice dealer, to your location.
Okay. So as of right now, safe to say you're in the south, as far south as Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
You must be in the Ohio area where Dusty met up with
Yes.
you. Yep. Are you in the Northeast yet?
Yes. Oh, yes. There's several stores in the Northeast. Some of the stores that are kind of in that Northeast, but like Troy, Michigan, there's a Field and Stream in Troy, Michigan. A new Field and Stream just opened up in Champaign, Illinois. I just set that up 3 weeks ago. And then there's another Field and Stream that came in North Carolina, Charleston, I believe.
Okay.
But if there's not a dealer locator, within reasonable time or distance of you, you can order it off our website.
Okay. And what's the website address?
It is antlerice.com.
Just straight up. Excellent. Very nice. Well, both, thank you for joining us on the Big Buck Podcast. It's been a pleasure, and I really enjoyed learning about a new twist on deer urine. You just don't see that kind of stuff every day. Just when you thought it was all tapped out, here comes somebody else with a new idea.
Well, it is a very good product, and I have enjoyed the talk with you guys. We might have to do this whole camel wrapped ice cream Antler Ice truck, though.
Dude, I'm in on that.
That's a cool idea.
Pull that up at a Field and Stream parking lot, or just kind of cruise around to some of the other places where hunters hang out most frequently. Like a deer weigh station or
check-in station, or bow shop,
or the hunter's breakfast place of choice. All those places. I bet you'd be able to make a good.
All right. I'm going to sell Antler Ice and biscuits and gravy.
Oh man, I'm hooked.
I'm telling you, I think it would work. I think it would.
Oh man, you start doing that, I might have to work for you. I'll eat some biscuits and gravy and sell deer urine.
Hunter's breakfast and your favorite Antler Ice doe and estrus, whatever you'd like.
Call it the gravy wagon / Antler Ice mobile.
Yeah. What are you running low on today? You need a little doe and heat, or you need a little just doe straight up? Well, how do you like your doe?
I like my biscuits with a little vanilla.
Like a little apple on my doe. Thank you very much.
Well, Beau, hey man, appreciate you joining in with us here on the Big Buck Registry Deer Hunting Podcast, and I'll be curious to see what happens for Antler Ice in the future, and best of luck to anybody that uses that product.
No, well, appreciate it very much. Like I said, we hope to continue to grow and get this product to those hunters that have yet to been able to utilize it. So
awesome, man. I gotta say, I think that the Antler Ice ice cream truck could be just a game changer.
I'm so that guy, like the carny would drive it.
Maybe we should just open up a little.
Get your deer pee. Yeah.
Right. Antler Ice franchise. Like a food truck, it's going to be an Antler Ice ice cream truck franchise.
Right. Yeah. I think it'd be epic, man.
Imagine driving out up some of those backwoods roads that we took you on with Greg's Jeep, and just hear the bell ringing. Oh, the Antler Ice guys here. We'll be right back.
You think guys would literally like just climb down out of their stand, take off running like the kids do from ice cream truck?
I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're not too far off the trail and somehow that ice cream truck can make it up the stone road, yeah.
We might have to have Greg drive the ice cream truck, Jay.
Oh, what a visual that is. Wow. Awesome. Thanks to Beau Harris for joining us on the Big Buck Podcast. So, Dusty, do we have a Chubby Tines tip of the week this week?
We do have a Chubby Tines tip of the week. You know, and it's a mental thing. We're going to get into the time of the season right now, and I'm experiencing no different than anybody else, and it's something that you can overcome and you can push through, but you keep yourself mentally positive that you still have opportunity to kill a mature buck. And, you know, it's at that point in time where a lot of firearm seasons are ending and people were unsuccessful with their firearm, and it's just starting to play that role. It's just like, man, you know, you get in that mental stage where you're just beating yourself up. You think you're doing something wrong and you need to move your stuff because deer's not doing what they should be doing, what they were doing, you know, and deer change throughout the year. But you always got to remember, once this cold weather finally sets in, we start getting some snow, deer are going to go to a food source. So, you know, capitalize on the food sources, but most importantly, keep your mental game going and stay positive while you're in the whitetail woods.
Dude, it's such a mental challenge. You get late season, you just can't seem to find that one thing that you're looking for. That one big buck just hasn't crossed your path. Seeing all kinds of other deer, but just that one shooter that you want hasn't been here. Now you're starting to, like, you know, you're biting at your teeth. You're just grinding your teeth and just, it's a grind mentally. But this is when you have to stay stronger than ever, because that's when it happens. Most of these guys have given up, you know, and that's the deer getting back on their normal paths and working on food sources again. And this is the time to regroup your brain, regroup your energy, and get back out.
Yeah, one time an old timer told me, he said, you know, Dusty, whitetail hunting's like a bad disease that you can fight off in the season. I'm like, well, explain. You know, this is something that sparked my interest right off the bat. I said, you got to explain yourself on this one. He said, you know, when somebody gets really deathly sick, man, and they really power through it and recover from it. I said, yeah, I get what you're saying. He said, whitetail hunting's the same damn way. I said, oh, really? You know, I said, oh, that's cool. You know, I was young and dumb then, probably 14 years old, didn't have a clue about anything in life. And now that I look back on that conversation, it's the most factual thing anybody's ever told me about whitetail hunting. Right. It's like you get so sick of not seeing stuff. And it's like your body is just drained out. You've hunted so hard and your legs and butts tired from sitting in a stand. You know, you've put in the extra mile. You've got up early. You've went in and you just try to do everything right. You're tired of spraying yourself down with some kind of cover scent. You're tired of not being able to get out of your truck with your boots on until you get home, or you go straight home to get off your stuff. Whatever you do, you know, you got to get dressed in the field, pack all that stuff out, pack it in, unload your truck, load your truck. There's all these scenarios. Right. And it's like being deathly sick, and then finally you pull through it. Right. That one shot that you needed that 3 seconds for finally shows up, and he couldn't have said it any better. And it's the truth. Yep.
You spend 3 months for 3 seconds.
Yeah, but that's three of the best seconds all year
of your life. Yeah, absolutely. Wow, man, that's a lot. Heavy duty mental stuff right there, dude.
Yeah, for sure. But, you know, just stay positive, man. Hang in there. It's going to happen. Just you got to be there for it to happen. That's all.
So, Dusty, next week we've got Jeanette Hall, the master taxidermist. I mean, and I'm talking world-class master, not just master, but world-class master taxidermist out of Alberta, Canada, joining us on the show. So stay tuned for a great deer story, and she's a fantastic girl. And speaking of overcoming an illness, she overcame a brain tumor. So, and now she's still killing big deer and doing some amazing taxidermy work, that's winning awards all over the world.
And also know that we got a world-class hunter here in Ohio coming up in the future here, Jay, Steve Esker. And talking with Steve, he's put a couple 200-plus inch bucks on the ground here in Ohio.
That's hard to do. But those are the types of hunters we want to talk to week in, week out to find out how they're doing it, see if we can break down and dissect and get some tips from those guys, because we want to be like them. Quite frankly,
you got a couple good shows you don't want to miss, folks. They
That's right.
Appreciate you tuning in with us every week, man. Jay, it's been an awesome ride.
has been an awesome ride. So, Dusty, where can we find you when you're not hanging out here?
Facebook.com/Chubby Tines Outdoors. You can look me up, Facebook.com/Chubby Gobbler. Also, at Chasing Antler on Instagram. Follow me, hit me up. I will respond. It may take me a couple weeks because I've been hunting.
Awesome.
But that's where you can reach me at. Jay, where can the people reach out to you when you're not in the no deer woods of New Hampshire or on the mic?
Well, I'm trying to get smarter about where the deer might be. It's just the constant breakdown. But we covered that earlier in your Chubby Tines tip of the week. But when I'm not out there and I'm not here on the mic, the best place to find me obviously is on this podcast. And if you're on an Apple device, if you could please hit the subscribe button and please leave us a review if you like the show. Leave us a 5-star review if you do love it. Soon to be is the Apple, or soon to be, it will be on the Google Play Store. We've already been accepted to their program. And so if you're on an Android device, a Google phone, look for that in the very near future, and you'll be able to listen to all our podcasts through the Google Play Store. If you'd like to reach me directly, you can send me an email, jay@bigbuckregistry.com. We're also part of the Outdoor Podcast channel, which is on iTunes as well. And you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/bigbuckregistry. Twitter is twitter.com/bigbuckregistry. If you shot a big buck and you'd like to show it off to 200,000 plus fans of the diehard deer hunter big buck registry contingent, all you have to do is go to bigbuckregistry.com/mybuck, and all the instructions will be right there for you on how to get that picture to us, along with some of the details. All we need is a field shot of you and the buck. We need the information about where the buck was shot, what state, and we also need to know what the hunter's first name is. Well, brother, I think that is a wrap.
Wow, big buck everywhere, big buck. Jay, don't forget to let's give a shout out if any companies out there would like to get with us. bigbuckregistry.com/sponsor.
Yeah, definitely. Go to bigbuckregistry.com/sponsor if you're a company that's looking to get in front of a lot of diehard deer hunting fans. Something to the tune of 20,000 downloads per month and 200,000 followers on Facebook. We can get you some big coverage real fast. So shoot me an email, jay@bigbuckregistry.com, if you're interested in that after you looked at all of our sponsorship opportunities. Well, I'm Jay Scott.
And I'm Dusty Phillips.
And this is the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Can't wait.